There's a good chance you're making a financial mistake right now, and you don't even know you're making it. You're earning money. You're paying your bills. Maybe you're investing. Maybe you even have a budget. So why does it still feel like your money disappears? Here's the uncomfortable answer. You probably don't have a money problem. You have a money awareness problem. And I know that sounds almost too simple. But stay with me. Because there's one thing I've seen over and over again with people who eventually get control of their finances. They don't necessarily earn more. They don't necessarily know some secret investment strategy. They just do something most people avoid. Once a month, they stop. They sit down, they open their accounts, and they look at what actually happened. Not what they think happened. What actually happened. And that little difference can completely change your financial life. Because money doesn't usually disappear in one giant explosion. It leaks. $17 here, $42 there, a subscription you forgot, a few takeout orders, a random online purchase, a bigger car payment because, well, it's only another $100 a month. And then you reach the end of the year and wonder where the money went. I've been there. And that's why I want to show you something incredibly simple. A 30-minute monthly money meeting. No complicated spreadsheet, no financial degree, no sitting in a dark room eating instant noodles. Just you, your numbers, and a little honesty. Because if you don't know what happened to your money last month, how exactly are you supposed to control what happens to it next month? Let's start there. Step 1. Look at the whole picture. Pick one day every month. The first Sunday, the last Saturday. Whatever works. Put it on your calendar. And treat it like an appointment. Because it is. You're meeting with the person who controls your financial future. You. First, open every account you have. Checking, savings, credit cards, investments, retirement, loans, everything. And write down the balances. It might look something like this. $2,300 checking, $8,000 savings, $12,000 investments, $45,000 retirement then, $3,200 credit card debt, $1,800 on another card, $18,000 student loan. Now add up everything you own. Subtract everything you owe. That's your net worth. And this number is more important than most people realize. Because your checking account can make you feel rich for about 3 days, then rent arrives, insurance arrives, the credit card bill arrives, and suddenly, welcome back to reality. Your net worth tells a different story. It tells you whether you're actually moving forward, or just moving money around. And here's where it gets interesting. You might discover your net worth went up. Great. Do more of what worked. Maybe it went down. That's not a disaster. It's information. Maybe your car needed repairs. Maybe you had a medical bill. Maybe you spent too much. Whatever happened, now you know. And knowing early is powerful. Because financial problems are usually much easier to fix when they're small. Step 2. Find the money you didn't know you were losing. Now comes the uncomfortable part. Open your bank statement. Open your credit card statement. And go through the transactions. Every single one. This is where people suddenly become very busy. I'll do it next weekend. Next weekend becomes next month. Next month becomes next year. And then they're wondering why they can't save. Don't do that. Look at the numbers. Maybe you spent $400 on restaurants, $60 on coffee, $280 on groceries, $350 on entertainment, $45 on subscriptions, $200 on random online purchases. And here's the trick. Don't judge yourself. Just observe. You're not in court. Nobody is giving you a financial grade. You're collecting evidence. Maybe restaurants cost you $400 last month. Okay, that's $4,800 a year. Now ask yourself, would I rather eat $4,800 worth of restaurant food this year, or have $4,800 working for my future? There isn't one correct answer. Maybe you love restaurants. Then keep going. Seriously, order the burger. The problem isn't spending. The problem is accidental spending. Money leaving your account without you consciously deciding to send it. That's the leak. And once you see it, something changes. Because you can finally make a decision. Before the review, I don't know where my money went. After the review, I spent $4,800 on this. That is a completely different level of control. Step 3. Here's where most budgets fail. People think budgeting means telling yourself, no. No restaurants, no vacations, no shopping, no fun, no life. That's why they hate budgets. But that's not a budget. That's punishment. A real budget is simply a plan. Maybe you decide $300 for restaurants, $600 for groceries, $250 for transportation, $200 for entertainment, and a certain amount for saving and investing. Simple. But here's the part nobody tells you. Your budget is supposed to be wrong sometimes. Because your life changes. Maybe gas costs more, maybe your rent increases, maybe you go on vacation, maybe your income changes. So every month you compare your plan with reality. If you planned $300 for restaurants, but spent $400, don't panic. Ask why. Was it a special month? Or is $300 simply unrealistic for you? If it's unrealistic, change the budget. If you're overspending, change the behavior. Either way, you now have information. And information gives you choices. That's why people who build wealth don't treat their budgets like sacred documents. They treat them like dashboards. Something you look at, something you adjust, something that tells you when you're drifting. Step 4. Now do something most people never do. This is where the monthly review becomes powerful. Look at your savings rate. How much of your income actually stayed yours? Maybe you're saving 5%, maybe 8%, maybe 12%. Whatever it is, ask, can I increase this by 1%? Not 20%. 1%. That's it. If you're saving 8%, move to 9%. You probably won't feel much difference. Then a few months later, maybe 10%, then 11%. You aren't trying to become a completely different person overnight. You're making your financial life slightly better. Again, and again, and again. This is one of the most underrated ideas in personal finance. People want dramatic transformations. I'm going to save 50% of my income. They last 2 weeks. Then life happens. The better approach is boring. And boring works. Increase the savings rate gradually. Let your lifestyle stay almost the same while your financial position quietly improves. That's how you build wealth without feeling like you're constantly sacrificing everything. Step 5. 2 people. Same money. Different future. Let me make this real. Imagine Rachel and Michelle. Both are 28. Both earn $55,000. Both start by saving 5%. Same income, same age, same starting point. But Rachel does the monthly review. Michelle doesn't. In February, Rachel notices she's spending $150 every month on subscriptions. Some she barely uses. She cancels a few. That's another $75 available. Her savings rate goes from 5% to 6%. Nothing dramatic. Then Rachel gets a 3% raise. She doesn't immediately upgrade her lifestyle. She saves part of the increase. Now she's at 8%. A few months later, she checks her transactions again. She sees $300 a month going to takeout. And she thinks, okay, that's getting ridiculous. She doesn't quit eating out. She just cuts it in half. Another $150 becomes available. She invests it. By December, Rachel is saving around 12%. Michelle? She got the same raise. But she never reviewed anything. Her lifestyle quietly expanded. A few more subscriptions, a little more shopping, more takeout, a slightly more expensive car. Nothing crazy. And that's exactly why it's dangerous. There wasn't one huge mistake. There were dozens of tiny ones. By the end of the year, the difference could already be thousands of dollars. But here's the part people miss. Year 1 isn't the scary part, year 5 is, year 10 is. Because Rachel isn't just saving more money. She's building a skill. She's learning how to manage money. And that skill gets better every month. Step 6. The real compounding effect. When people hear compound growth, they usually think about investments. But there's another kind of compounding. Behavior compounds. The first month you review your money, you might find one leak. The second month, you notice another. The third month, you recognize a pattern. After a year, you're making decisions you wouldn't have even noticed before. You stop asking, can I afford this? And start asking, is this actually worth it? That's a much better question. Because affordability isn't the same thing as value. You might be able to afford a $700 car payment. That doesn't mean the car is helping you build the life you want. You might be able to afford $200 a month in subscriptions. That doesn't mean you're getting $200 of value from them. You might be able to afford expensive takeout every night. But what are you giving up? That's the question. Every dollar has another possible job. Spend it. Save it. Invest it. Use it to buy time. Pay down debt. Create options. Your monthly review simply forces you to see those choices. Step 7. Now check the future. There's one final part I want you to add. Take 5 minutes. Look at your current numbers. Then ask, if I keep doing exactly what I'm doing now, where will I be 5 years from today? Not where you hope to be. Where are your current habits taking you? That's a different question. Maybe the answer feels exciting. Good. Keep going. Maybe the answer feels uncomfortable. Good. Don't run away. That's actually useful. Because you just found the problem while there's still time to fix it. Most people don't do this. They drift. Paycheck after paycheck, year after year. Then suddenly they're 40 or 45. And they're asking, how did I get here? The answer usually isn't one giant decision. It's thousands of tiny decisions nobody reviewed. That's why the monthly meeting matters. It interrupts the drift. Step 8. The 30-minute system. So, let's make this ridiculously simple. Once a month, 30 minutes. First, check your net worth. What you own minus what you owe. Second, review your spending. Every transaction. Find the leaks. Third, compare reality to your budget. What did you plan? What actually happened? Fourth, increase your savings rate if possible, even by 1%. Fifth, check your financial goals. Are you ahead? Behind? On track? And finally, look 5 years ahead. If nothing changes, where are you going? That's your entire system. You don't need a $500 spreadsheet. You don't need 12 finance apps. You don't need to become obsessed with money. You need awareness. Then decisions, then consistency. Step 9, and here's the part I really want you to think about. You probably spend more than 30 minutes a month doing things that don't change your life at all. Scrolling, watching random videos, checking social media, reading comments from people you'll never meet. And I'm not saying don't enjoy those things. Go have fun. I'm just saying, if you're willing to spend hours every week deciding what show to watch, you can probably find 30 minutes to decide what your money is doing. Because your money determines options. Where you live, how much debt you carry, whether you can leave a bad job, whether an emergency destroys your month, whether you can help your family, whether you can retire when you want. Money isn't everything. But having control over your money gives you something incredibly valuable. Options. And options are freedom. Step 10. Start before you feel ready. So don't wait until you're earning more. Don't wait until your debt disappears. Don't wait until you understand investing perfectly. Don't wait for January. Start with what you have. This month. Pick a day. 30 minutes. Sit down. Open the accounts. Look at the numbers. Some of them might make you uncomfortable. That's okay. You're not failing because the numbers aren't perfect. You're finally looking at them. And that's the first win. Maybe you discover a subscription you forgot. Cancel it. Maybe you find a spending category that's out of control. Adjust it. Maybe you realize you're doing better than you thought. Great. Keep going. Maybe you can increase your savings by 1%. Do it. Then next month, come back. Do it again. Because wealth isn't usually built by one giant financial decision. It's built through hundreds of small decisions that nobody sees. 1 month. One review, one correction, 1%, then another and another. Until one day you look back and realize something changed. Your money isn't just disappearing anymore. You know where it's going. You know why it's going there. And most importantly, you are the one deciding. So before you close this video, ask yourself something. Not, how much money do I make? Not, what stock should I buy? Not, how can I get rich quickly? Ask this, when was the last time I actually sat down and looked at my entire financial life? If you can't remember, that's your answer. Put 30 minutes on your calendar. Not tomorrow, not someday, this month. Because 5 years from now, you'll either be grateful that you started paying attention, or you'll wish you had. And the difference between those two futures? It might begin with something as boring as opening your bank statement on a Sunday morning. 30 minutes. That's all. But don't underestimate boring habits. Sometimes the boring thing is the thing that quietly changes everything. What did you notice most when you really looked at your spending? Tell me about it in the comments. You might be surprised to see how many people are sharing exactly the same thing. If this gave you something concrete to do this weekend, a like really helps more people find this. Subscribe. Because on this channel, we talk about things that actually work when it comes to money, not things that just look good in financial advice summaries.